Before I get started, I just want to let you know that I have my PowerPoint in front of me. It's the same one that you're going to be looking at. I just want to have it in front of me just so I know where I'm at during the presentation, and just so you know where I'm at and you can follow along when I click through the slides. So one of the biggest things that has helped split the scientific community right down the middle between believers and non-believers is the topic of global warming. Now, global warming is a very important topic to the human population because not only are we helping cause it, there's a lot of effects that can have dramatic consequences on us as a civilization. Now, we as a population cause a lot of different things. We do our own causing, is what I'm trying to say. Now, three of the biggest causes that we make or we contribute throughout our daily lives were found in global greenhouse gas emission data, an article in 2019, where they found, doing research, that 25% of all greenhouse gas emissions data come from electricity and heat production, 15% come from deforestation, and 14% comes from transportation. That's only three categories of daily acts that go on that contribute to almost 60% of all emissions because of human activity. These causes have dramatic effects, some that affect us, some that affect other life throughout the globe. Some of the biggest effects were found in an article by Berhanu Baye in 2019, where he wrote about the causes and consequences of global warming, and he found that three of the biggest effects that occur because of global warming are the melting of global ice sheets. A lot of animals are starting to lose their habitats, their natural habitats, and as stated, because of global warming, the increase in the average global temperature of the world. In this article, Baye found that in the last 100 years, 1.4 degree Fahrenheit, there's been an increase in the global temperature of 1.4 degree Fahrenheit. That doesn't sound like much, but over a span of 1 million years, in just this little fragment of 100 years, we brought up 1.4 degrees. Now, this increase has an impact, like what I just said. There's melting ice caps. It's affecting animals' natural habitats. They're being forced to flee their habitats because it's becoming unsuitable for them to live in. In an article by R. Warren and J. Vanderwell in 2013, they wrote about climate change and biodiversity loss, and they found that if these causes and these actions keep occurring by humanity, we can see a loss of 57% of plants and 34% of animals from their natural habitat by the year 2080. Just in 60 years, we could see plants and animals migrating to northern areas to suit their needs of life. Now, there are sources of renewable energy that have already been created to help counteract this, such as wind power and wind turbines, and solar power and solar panels and solar farms, and also hydropower such as the Hoover Dam. Now, an article about the Hoover Dam written by the Bureau of Reclamation in 2018, they found the data of the Hoover Dam, and it is found that on average, the facility generates about 4 million kilowatt hours of hydroelectric power, which is enough to serve 1.3 million people in Nevada, Arizona, and California. Now, the biggest thing that renewable energy resources do is that they do not emit any carbon emissions. This is huge, even though it is more difficult to find places to put these renewable energy sources. It is very helpful as they aren't damaging the environment, and it is better cost effective. Now, there are ways for even the regular citizen to reduce their carbon footprint, such as buying solar panels. You can install solar panels, get off the grid, and have your own energy being produced right at your own home. Another big thing is, stated earlier, transportation and burning fossil fuels is a very big deal in that's a very big cause of carbon emissions being put into the air. So buying an electric car or just driving less can do a very big part in reducing your carbon footprint. And lastly, just turning things off. If you got stuff around the house or you got stuff at work that you're not using, just turn it off. Flip the light switch. If you got something in your bathroom going, flip it off. You have the water running, flip it off. It's simple stuff like that that requires energy. And if you flip it off, that's less power being used. That's less power being needed to generate. And that's less carbon emissions being put into the atmosphere. It doesn't seem like much, but if more and more and more people do it, it becomes a very big impact, and it starts to show over time. Now, I really hope that you can understand that global warming is not a matter that can be taken lightly, even though it's not showing on a day-to-day basis. Over time, there's been effects around the world that are starting to show and are starting to impact not just us, but other life, such as plants, such as animals, etc., that are losing what they need and what is essential to them. And given our circumstances, we have the opportunity to do what's right and help save them, and hopefully help save ourselves from the same doom. Thank you.